All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome into another episode of the Couch Experts podcast. We're actually on episode 11 now. Jahmari, how we doing, buddy?
I'm doing all right, all things considered. Obviously tough game to watch this past weekend, but I'm coming off of a crazy Bears win that happened a few days ago, so I am still processing that as we move forward, but all things considered, man, I'm okay. What about you?
Same thing with me. The Broncos managed to get a win, so that's good. At the time of us recording this, the Bills and the Chiefs are playing right now, so we're hoping the Bills can get a dub against the Chiefs. So, but yeah, man, no, the week's been good. Just been busy and stuff like that, and yeah. Um, I was gonna ask you, where'd you watch the game? Did you go out? Did you stay at home?
That's a great question. I watched it from home. I had a long week and I just decided, hey, it'll be good to just stay home for a little bit and watch it. And I mean, I ended up actually going out later because I was like, this is hard to watch, and I have to do something to take my mind off of how crazy this was.
Absolutely. Yeah, no, I'm right there with you. I watched it with my in-laws. They flew in from Wyoming and they were watching it with me. We were watching Nebraska and Wyoming at the same time. So we had two disappointing losses at the same time. So yeah, that was hard to watch. Fans, as you guys know, Cowboys fall to San Diego State 7-24. Um What's your initial reaction to that, man? What's kinda your thoughts on the game? As you know, obviously there was a lot of disappointing things, but I guess what's your initial reaction?
There are a couple of clips from previous episodes where we're having the same conversation about our offense. And I think about it as I'm here talking about it. It's just a broken record, man. It's the same. It's like watching the same movie you've seen before over and over again. And with Sims being in something that was working really well for us, we saw that previously, in the last week, and then seeing him go down like that, you hope that in that situation that Caden is able to be a little bit more consistent in that situation. Obviously, that's a tough situation for everybody, especially Sims, and, yeah, I don't know, man. It's one of those things where, as a fan, you have this, dare I say, a delusion that the things that you've seen previously will just magically disappear when we want it to. And once Sims went down, in my head, I'm like, okay, this is something that can still work. This is something that will work. Defense is playing well, but I mean the turnovers. I don't know. It's tough for me to. I'm trying to find the positive here. Zane, you got to help me out. I'm trying to find a positive here.
Well, here's what I'll say. The first drive where we scored, it looked phenomenal, right? When it's scripted, we always look good. It just felt like we kind of reverted back to pre Javon Bouknight. So that kind of tells you, okay, well, maybe this wasn't all Jay. Maybe this is something that has to do with the offense. Caden threw an absolute dot to Fitzgerald on that play, and then Sims had a fantastic 37-yard run and everything was going smooth. We quickly had a 3 and out. We got the ball back, and I thought we were going to immediately go up 14 nothing on them. And I thought we were in a great spot. And then we just started shooting ourselves in the foot, just like you said. We're a broken record at this point. It's just mental errors that are kind of getting to us. Um, when I look at the stats, it was definitely his worst. It was Caden Anderson's worst game by a mile, right? And I know we say it's got to be complimentary football, but I think San Diego's defense, and I know fans, we normally do offense, defense. We're going to kind of jump around here just because there's not a ton of offense to highlight. But when you look at San Diego State's defense, they are that good. I mean, I think they were just as good as advertised. Obviously not trying to take any pressure off of Wyoming because obviously we need to feel the pressure. But they They did a really good job. When Sims went down, it felt like the mobile quarterback was truly the answer um, to the offense. It's kind of like for any of my basketball players out there, when they go to a zone, you work the middle of the court. That was the answer to that San Diego defense. If you can go ahead and have the mobile quarterback to open it up for you, keep the linebackers honest, and then it allowed Caden Anderson to have open throwing windows. I mean, that's kind of where I'm at. I don't know. Did you get anything positive out of that one, man? I know that there's it's tough. It's tough after a game like this.
Felt like similarly to what we've talked about before, there's instances where we can move the ball, and as you had said before, excuse me, it's something that becomes frustrating because you know we can have success. It's not like we can't move the ball, we can't catch, we can't run, we can't throw. You see glimpses of it each and every game, but we just can't put it all together. And so you show it to me, you know that is there, but you don't give it to me. So that's the frustrating part, man. Is not being able to tie it together, whether it is protection, whether it is accuracy, decision making, penalties. I mean, teams at this point in the season, especially the good teams, are gonna rise to the crop, or they're gonna rise to the top, and the margin for error is so much smaller at this point in the season. And so, I mean, it's one thing to lose to a team like that where things are clicking, but they're just that much better. I don't think they were that much better. That's the hard part. The hard part is I don't think that they were that much better. That was a winnable game. And
It was. When you look at
yeah.
when Sims was out there, it we were in it. We were in it. When we had the 1-2 punch with Anderson and Sims, we were in it. 1000%.
Yeah, it's we sound like a broken record, and I think that now you kind of have to start asking questions, right? As you move forward. My question to you is, what is the first question that comes to mind? Is it the offensive coordinator? Is it the quarterback? Is it the head coach? What Because there's a lot of questions now that a lot of fans are left with at this point in time as to how do we move forward, or how do we address the penalties? How do we address the lack of production when the consistency from the offense? So when you think about all of these questions, what is the first one that comes to mind that you feel like is probably the biggest one to focus on, or the most pressing question that needs to be answered and addressed?
Um, for me, it's I got to give Javon Bouknight more time. He had a phenomenal first game against Colorado State, and then obviously he played the best defense in the Mountain West the next game. That's never a going to be an easy thing. Obviously, I want to see him with a little bit more consistency, but it was game two for him, so I'm not putting it on Bouknight. As far as penalties go, we've been a broken record about penalties all year, and you know it from coaching, and I know it from coaching. Mental errors is coaching. So a little bit, you're kind of looking at Jay and the staff, and you're saying, guys, where's the lapse? Where is the mental error coming? Is it from they did change their packages around. I don't know. We didn't talk about this last week, but they're not substituting as much. So I don't know if it's because they're not substituting as much under Javon, and maybe we have just cadences off or whatever it is. Um, One thing that I want to ask you, is it time? And I know you posted this clip on our Instagram, which, by the way, fans, if you're not following the Couch Experts podcast on Instagram, please do. Jahmari's getting a lot of really good content out there. Um, as far as you kinda said, "Am I gonna change my tune?" Well, I wanna know, is it time to change our tune on Caden Anderson? Are you there? Are you not there? I mean, I've got my answer ready, but I kinda wanna know what you said.
So for me, I mean, it's obvious that at this point in the season, either they need to go a different direction as far as personnel, or they need to maybe reimagine how they call plays, maybe reimagine how they structure things to simplify it for Caden. Because obviously, like you said, with Sims getting a chance and things moving with him in there, right? I like the dual quarterback deal. But at this point in time, if we think about the schedule moving forward, I don't how we've played, I don't think people are gonna spot us a win. I don't think anybody's spotting us any type of win. So I definitely think it's the elephant in the room of the quarterback play because when you even think about pre-snap penalties, cadence is really important and being able to be aware and control and lead the snap is really important. That's a lot of it that's going to be on the quarterback. So this isn't nothing against him or who he is as a person. And I think that maybe this is something that will then spark maybe some type of change from a preparation standpoint. um, the talent is there, but I wonder about the mental aspect on what goes through his head in those moments and in the decision making. Because again, as you pointed out in the beginning of the game, in just most of the season, you see these flashes of these amazing throws. So, man, I don't know. I do think that we need to have that conversation on how do we adjust this and what do the coaches do? I've seen them make changes before, but now you have to also think it's not as easy as it sounds on paper. Um, because with Tim's out, you're very limited in this situation now. So you kind of have to figure out how do we make it easier for Caden? Whereas, hey, we're gonna just, replace him, have somebody else come in and get the job done. Now we kind of have to figure out how do we make it easier for him. So with making it easier, what do you think is one of the biggest keys to making the game a little slower or easier for Caden?
Well, one, I think the bye week is going to help. Luckily they don't have to play anybody this next week, so they get just kind of a week for him and Javon to sit down and say, "Okay, let's go over the film. Let's go through it slow and let's see where can I improve as an offensive coordinator, where can you improve as a quarterback?" That time, and sometimes you just need a mental reset, right? The grind of the season, I know you can speak to that. It seems like it's a lot, right? I just know it from a facility standpoint. By the mid to end of the season, you're grinding as a staff. So I can't imagine how players are starting to feel. You know what I'm saying? So I think this added time is going to be good, but I think it's just open and honest communication with Caden. And I think you also kind of just open and honestly say, look, man, right now, because, and I got to ask you this, even the coaching staff is probably starting to feel a little pressure. Do you guys, as players in the locker room, I mean, this isn't high school football, man. These are people's jobs, these are people's livelihoods, and they feel the pressure when they get into situations like that. Do you guys kind of know in the locker room, you're like, holy cow, like if we don't start playing better, we might start losing coaches? Or do you guys try to keep that out?
Well, at the time when I was playing, if a coach was doing really well, that's when you knew that they wouldn't be there because they might go somewhere else, bigger school, bigger opportunity for them to maybe go to the NFL or climb whatever ladder there is. So the thought wasn't, hey, we'll start losing coaches if we're playing bad. But there was an incident where there was a coach that everybody knew, or the better way I can put it was that everybody saw the flaws in maybe a scheme that a coach had that just made it very apparent, hey, this guy needs to go. I can't speak to that aspect of it today because I feel like those guys play hard and there are opportunities there. It seems like we're just not executing. So if we're able to execute a lot of these things, then I feel like it would work. But you don't really see too many instances where people aren't open or there's nothing there. It's more so how do we stop shooting ourselves in the foot and figuring out how do we get the best execution out of players. And it's tough because again, it's just not you don't have an unlimited amount of players at your disposal. So you kind of have to work with what you got to a certain extent because you might have somebody who does the play correctly, but maybe doesn't have the speed to execute or don't have the strength to execute, right? Uh Maybe don't have the hands, right? So there's a lot of things that goes into evaluating a player and simply just saying, "Hey, we'll just have to sub this guy out and put the next guy in." In theory, it sounds cool, but you risk there being a big drop off in other areas that would really have to change things around. So, nah, man, I don't think that they're looking at losing the coaches per se, but other way around maybe where the coaches might risk losing the buy-in from the players. I'm not saying
Mhm.
that they're there yet either, but at some point, you have to address certain elephants in the room. What I mean by that is I could remember there were instances where somebody might be playing bad or a quarterback might be playing bad. There's a younger or new or, the quarterback that people are excited about but hadn't seen much. Like, people are like, "We're waiting to see this kid play." But, for whatever reason, we're sticking with, the quarterback that we announced. So, I've seen that happen before, and for whatever reason, there's a bunch of different approaches to how you do that, and you want a quarterback to learn, and there's a bunch that goes into those decisions, and they happen for different reasons, but I can easily see the players maybe starting to wanna put pressure on the coaches to make certain changes that they might see is pretty obvious. So that's kinda what I got for that one.
I'm gonna put you on the spot here. Any predictions as far as maybe an elephant in the room conversation they're gonna have over this bye week?
Oh, man. Quarterback is gonna be the big one, right? And did you get did you ever find out what was the actual injury for Sims or Landon?
All I saw in the post game conference notes is that he's done for the year.
Man, s yeah, so that's what you're afraid of, right? So the conversation is just going to be, how can we call plays and execute in a way that's best gonna support who we have? And
Mhm.
it sucks talking about it in this way because as a player, there's a lot of nuance that goes into reason you may or may not be performing, and there's no telling what he's going through, how school is treating him, right? And he's a person. So
Mhm.
the tough part about this sport is it's a week by week deal. One week you're on top of the mountain, you're the best quarterback in college football. Next week you got to be replaced, or we got to hit the panic button. But I think that there's a bigger picture here, and we have a big enough sample size to say that it's more of an offensive thing more than anything, right? Like, it's not to say that the other two phases of the ball doesn't have their issues, but we've been saying some of the same things about offense for a while, and we're looking for them to deliver on a consistent basis with formative opponents. So I think that's going to be the question, right? Is can we score and can we consistently take care of the ball and be cleaner in our football, especially pre-snap and mental errors, even just from an execution standpoint. We might not get a penalty, but if guys are missing blocks, if guys aren't if guys aren't really on the same page with the count on how many people are in the box versus out of the box, who has who, pre-snap movement. There's also a lack of execution that can happen during the game that doesn't necessarily result in a penalty, but it results in a unsuccessful play. So I think that that's going to be the conversations, is like, how do we execute and how do we finish the season off strong, right? Because as far as conference championship contention goes, like, I mean, that at this point now it's like, hey, can we make a bowl game?
Yeah. Yeah. No, it completely flips. Yeah.
Yeah, so that's kind of where my head is with that, right? So with that, right, there's a bunch of questions that we might have about the team altogether, the coach, head coach. I feel like there's been improvements from last year to this year. So
Ton.
yeah,
Absolutely.
from a holistic standpoint, I'm not gonna hit the panic button. But what I will say is I think that this is gonna be a bigger emphasis to just continue to develop the offense, not just through this season, but next season as well. And thinking about even the type of quarterbacks and type of athletes you recruit based on the type of style offense that you want to run. So Sims, one of the things that I appreciate about him was that he was able to not only get other guys going, but he's able to move around a lot too. So I think that being able to think about dual threat quarterbacks, we had some really good ones, obviously Josh Allen, but then another one I think of that was a good dual threat was Sean Chambers. He was somebody that used his legs a lot too. So that's just kind of something that comes to my mind when I'm thinking about going into the bye week. So, um, I think that that's something that it's going to be really important for them to lock in on this upcoming week.
Agreed. Agreed. Yeah, and I think I don't know, man. I think my conversation, if I'm Javon Bouknight, I think you go into it with the understanding like, see, Caden Anderson just played his heart out against CSU and everything clicked and everything looked phenomenal.
Right.
So I think you're right. I don't think you're trying to go anywhere. But I do think you're having those elephant in the room conversations and you're saying, look, man, it's a 3-pick game. Even though it's against the best defense, that's not going to work. And just kind of trying to clean up the little things and stuff like that. I'm kind of right there with you. Obviously, the backup quarterback, whoever it is, I'm sure it's going to be a competition to see who gets that role. That'll be interesting to see. I'm hoping we get a little bit of information on that on our next pregame press conference. Um, but before we jump into defense, man, I see this segment we have right here. You want to talk to me about it, real or not real?
Oh yeah. So for the audience out there, I have a couple of statements, right? They're more like statistical statements, if you will. And I'm gonna ask Zane one by one. I'm gonna give him the scenario, and then he's gonna let me know if this is real or not real, and I'll let him know. So, Zane, here's the first one, in real or not real, okay? The Cowboys have more rushing touchdowns than passing touchdowns this season. Real or not real? What do you think?
Oh, it's actually closer than people think. I'm gonna go with real, but maybe by only a very slim margin.
So, ladies and gentlemen, he went with real, that the Cowboys have more rushing touchdown than passing. The correct answer is false. Short margin for sure. They have more passing touchdowns than they do receiving touchdowns. So I believe they're at about 9 passing touchdowns 11 passing touchdowns and 9 rushing touchdowns.
Okay, okay.
So
I would
not
have had
too
those
far off.
flipped.
Not too
Yeah,
far
I would have
off,
had those flipped.
but there you go, right? So that tells a story too that this offense, it really depends on us having success in the pass, right? Obviously, you need to run the ball, but just as we've been going, we've had more success when the pass has been going. That's just where we're at as a team. I think that tells the story of, hey, listen, when we're able to pass the ball, actually convert in the red zone or convert on third down, then we see a lot of good things happen, which is an interesting stat for me because, I felt like the run has felt more consistent in a lot of the games. I don't know if you felt that way.
I have. Well, that's why I thought it was more rushing than passing because it felt like if we had anything working, it was Teron Kelman or Toad Harris or Sam Scott. So that's very interesting.
Yeah, for sure. Here's the second one. Okay, we're 0 for 1. We can get this next one. Colorado State has scored more total touchdowns this year than Wyoming. Real or not real?
We're at 20. I don't think there's any way they've scored 20. Not after what I saw in that CSU game. I'm gonna go false.
It is false. We actually
Okay.
have 23 total touchdowns, and I believe
Oh,
they
yep.
have 21.
Okay. Okay. I forgot about our defense and special teams touchdowns. Okay.
Yeah, so total touchdowns is the one, but it is close, right? Which is scary.
Very closer than I thought.
Yeah, a
Closer than
lot.
I
It's a
thought. Okay.
lot closer than what you think, which is pretty crazy. Pretty crazy. Um, Here's number 3. The Mountain West has 3 teams ranked in the AP Top 25.
Well, UNLV lost, so I know it's not them. Boise lost, so I know it's not them. The only other team that it could be would be San Diego. I'm gonna go no, false.
So the correct answer is false. So they actually just updated it, right? So again, we recorded pretty earlier in the week, but as I'm looking at it right now, they're actually 0 in the Mountain West. I'm looking
Yeah.
at there's 0
Okay.
in the Mountain West. We had a few earlier in the season, not too long ago, but now we have 0.
Boise started out ranked. Yeah, and then I want to say no. I think it was just Boise. Do you remember? Did we have more than Boise at the start of the year? I
I
can't hear you.
thought at some point Air Force might have been like early, like super early in the season, but I'm not really sure. But for sure Boise and then maybe San Diego State, but um or UNLV, excuse me. But no, there's nobody right now.
Yeah, yeah, I didn't think so. I didn't think after Boise lost and then UNLV lost. San Diego's probably getting close, would be my guess, but I wouldn't say they're top 25 because obviously you and I both agree Wyoming was in that game, and I don't think we're towards the top 25. I think if you got to be in the top 25, you've got to really show up and show out.
Right, exactly, exactly. Um Here's another one here, okay? Now, this one's a little bit more general, but I'm interested to see what you think about this. Taylor Swift has been mentioned more times on NFL broadcasts than Carolina Panthers have scored touchdowns.
True. It's got to be. 1,000%. It's got to be.
So there's actually no metric, official metric on this mention, at least for this season. I think if you add this season and next season, I think for sure. I
Yeah.
think for sure there's no metric to confirm or deny this, but um Carolina they don't score a lot of touchdowns, at least not this season. So um I saw that one, but I wouldn't be surprised if you add last season with this season, oh for sure that
Dude,
Taylor Swift
last
would
season
have it.
in one game, they could have covered that total. Yeah, it would have been, oh my goodness. And as a Tedero and McMillan fantasy football owner, I so desperately want the Panthers to be good. It's just not happening. They're just not. A lot like a lot like Wyoming. They just can't score in the red zone, especially passing it. So you're just in that spot.
They were able to take care of the Green Bay Packers this week. So
Kate.
apologies to all of my my Packer fans out there, but hey, um,
Shout out Kate Suda.
yeah, it's beautiful. So now we're at a point where in the NFC there's a three-way tie for first place between Detroit, Chicago, and the Packers. So shout out
Listen,
to the
it's never
Vikings.
been that way, man. It's never been that way. You got to be happy as a Bears fan to
Oh
see
man,
a little bit of consistency. It's got to be
it's getting
amazing.
better. It's getting better. It's still weird winning games you normally lose, but um we're still not where we need to be. Um
No, no.
but yeah, those are just a couple of fun little things. Well, I have some more up my sleeves that we'll have in later episodes, but um yeah, that's I would love to find the metric for the Taylor Swift mentions.
Oh, so it's got to be
Somebody
somebody's
has to
Twitter
have it
page.
out there.
That's
It was hard for me to find. It was
it's got to be on
hard for me
somebody's.
to find. But something that you
Um,
mentioned earlier was the defense, right? We spent a lot of time talking about the offense. Something that really stuck out to me was that we really kept a lid on them for the most part. I think that tackling at the end of the day and just really small missed opportunities led to some big plays, and I think that's just going to happen with good teams. So I mean, you can look at that any type of way, but I think naturally good teams are just going to make good plays. And so when you're looking at how much points they're averaging per game, I'm pretty sure they were averaging about 29.4 points per game. I could be off by a point or two, but they were averaging almost 30 points a game. So,
28.9 for San Diego State.
okay, so you held them below their average, right?
Hmm.
Obviously you're looking at you want like 16, 17 below there, but I think that for the most part they played it as best as they could, right? Um,
Well, and to be
especially not
honest with
being
you,
able to get and helping with turnovers that just doesn't help.
for most of the game, it was 17-10. You
Yeah,
know, they didn't
winnable.
honestly start getting yards and points until the fourth when we just couldn't. I mean, as a defensive player, I know you know this, and we sound like a broken record again. If you're not playing complementary football, there's only so much gas in the tank, emotionally, but also physically.
Right, right. It's when you're on the field for a really long time, long drive, get a stop, there's something that happens in your brain that's telling you to maybe relax, catch your breath, drink some water, stretch. and figure out, okay, what just happened? We have to debrief what just happened. So in the middle of you drinking your water, high-fiving your buddies, catching your breath, you're listening to the coach give you some adjustments. And before you can finish the adjustments, all you hear is defense, 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 you're up. And now I'm telling you, it's one of the most bizarre feelings is when you're in that moment and you have to go right back out. So that's why a lot of offensive coordinators, they like to take a lot of shots in that situation because people are thrown off. It's like chaotic. So if you hurry up and get a play and then you just throw some wild trick play or take a shot down the field, defenses are usually not prepared for that, just from a psychological standpoint. So you kind of see that and momentum when you don't have the momentum in that moment. So guys are feeling good on offense when that happens, and you kind of have to stop the bleeding as best you can. So I mean, just turning over the ball just doesn't help. So I mean,
You know what it reminds me of? And this might be a poor example, but I know you could chime in on this. When your planning period, which if you don't know as a teacher, you usually get a planning period. So like if you teach 4 classes a day, or if you have 4 classes in a day, you teach 3 of them, then one of them you get to plan. But there will be a lot of times, at least back at East where we taught, you're going to see the email come out, hey, I need somebody to cover this class, and it's your planning. It kind of reminds me of that when they're like, "Hey, I know you thought you were going to get a plan. I know you thought you were going to take a little break, maybe do some grading and stuff like that. Now you got to go right back out there." Do you get that same emotional feeling? Obviously, lot smaller scale, but
it's actually pretty triggering.
yeah. Oh my
It's
gosh.
pretty triggering because for those of you, again, we've talked about teaching before. Technically, on paper, it's about a 40-hour work week, but you got double amount of work you have to do in that time. And so your planning time, the time that you have to do anything when it goes to something else, whether it's a
And when
meeting,
he says
coverage,
anything, he's
something.
saying bathroom, print something, copy something, go to the office because you need like HR paperwork, call a parent, email.
Yeah,
He's talking anything, and you
anything.
only get like an hour.
Yeah, if that, if you're lucky. And then there's just it's filled with another meeting or filled with something that it is tough. Because then when they actually give you the time back, it's so nice. You're like, man, I wish I can have this more often. So it definitely, I'm sick that you made that comparison. I'm sick you made that comparison, but it is true. When you think it actually happened to me this past week, last week.
Yep. Yep.
Um, Usually we have every Thursday we have like an early release for our kids. And so it was nice because usually we have a meeting after an hour, like it's tutoring for kids for about an hour, and then you have a meeting. We didn't have a meeting then, and I had forgot that we had a meeting the next day on our PD days. Because some PD days, if it's like school directed, they can say, hey, we're meeting, or hey, use this time to grade or whatever, use this time to call parents. So a while ago, they had mentioned about like a SAT prep type of deal, and I completely like spaced on it. I'm just coming off a late football game the night before. I'm in the flow of grading, and I talked to one of my evaluators, and she was like, "Oh no, at 9 there's a meeting." Ah, okay. So now I have to like scramble a little bit, and then yeah. So it's not fun. And good defenses, they do what they can, and you gotta. I mean, we still have stuff that we need to fix on the defense. There's a bunch of missed opportunities, missed tackles. There was one in the red zone. I think it was the third quarter. I can't remember when, but it went from a tackle for loss to a touchdown in the red zone on the perimeter. So there's there's still opportunities and room for improvement. It's not like the defense is perfect, but you definitely just don't make it easier with the sudden change. That's what the official term for it is, a sudden change. So I don't know, man. I mean, it's frustrating because to your point, it was a manageable, winnable game most of the game. And so when you
Hmm.
aren't able to score, and not being able to score is one thing, but turnovers is another. So yeah, I don't know. It's I'm just hoping that guys are able to be healthy and being able to recover so that after the bye week, we can have a little bit more juice, a little bit more energy.
I got a real or not real for you. Wyoming is forcing or they're in the top 2 for the worst quarterback
Oh,
ratings, forcing the worst quarterback ratings in the Mountain West. Real or not?
what you got? Is it not real?
We're third.
Third, so it's close.
It's it,
Oh man.
yeah, we're third. San Diego State is number 1. And I'll be honest with you guys, defensively, they got after us, right? And I really, our team prides itself on having a really good O line, and we do have a really good O line. Um, but again, I think it just came down to getting gassed. I think it came down to things not working. I think emotionally, it probably got a little difficult. But San Diego is forcing the least efficient quarterback rating. I've got one more for you.
Okay.
Let me pull this one over here. Real or not real? Wyoming is in the top 5 for rushing defense,
Top 5 for rushing defense. Hmm.
just in the Mountain West, obviously.
Well, then just in the Mountain West, I think that's real.
Not real.
Not real. We're not
Not
top
real.
5 in the
We are 8th. We're allowing 163 rushing yards per game. We're allowing 163. San Diego is only allowing 88.5. So again, it was garbage time when Lucky, that's San Diego State's running back, when he started getting the bulk of his yards. But he had 28 carries for 158 yards. So I think we're starting to see defense, or from a passing standpoint, our secondary is doing really good. But we are starting to see just a little bit of an issue with the running game. Would you agree with that or no?
For sure. I think it comes with tackling. Um, it's not too many times I see us not in position, it's just finishing the play. Tackling
Yep.
is just good teams know how to tackle. I'm not saying we aren't a good team defensively. I think that we're in the right spots. We're flying around. We just have to finish plays
Mhm.
consistently, and when it matters most.
Now, I will throw this out to fans. Um, a lot of the other Mountain West schools have already had both of their buys, so we have played one more game. So I will throw that out to fans. But as of right now, in the Mountain West, those statistics are true. So just something to think about. Anything else for defensively, man? I mean, obviously, fans, we've said it all season. Kind of the same things that we're running into. Anything else you want to throw in there, man? I'm pretty much good. I think this defense just got gassed.
Yeah,
It
I'm good
it
on
is what it
defense as
is.
well.
Yeah, no complimentary football, so just things we need to clean up. Um, let's jump into these couch questions of the week, man.
So the first question is, what is your favorite thing about the culture in Laramie? Which I think is an excellent question. My
So when you
favorite,
do that one,
yeah,
are you saying like the sports, the city, or all encompassing?
the question that was written is, what is your favorite thing about the culture in Laramie? So I'm just taking it as in general. Uh, and I'm taking it as, hey, I'm a listener that doesn't really know what it's like in Laramie. If somebody is from Chicago, I think it would have been cool for me to talk about what I've learned as from somebody that's not from Wyoming, but have spent a lot of time there. Is number one, people are very active. Like people are out and about, people are kind, friendly. They're excited about not just football, they're excited about all the different sports that's happening. It's it feels like a tight knit community to a large extent. I mean, one of the first things I noticed when I moved to Laramie that I didn't understand, there weren't a lot of food chains. Now I'm from Chicago, and we had
A
all
lot
these
of
different
food
chains.
chains.
And so when I didn't notice, I'm like, wait, hold on, where are the chains? We have a McDonald's, sure, okay. There's a Walmart, but like, where are the spots? So originally, I'm like, all right, I have to go to Colorado here and there to get certain things. But Laramie actually has some really cool local businesses and restaurants, which I thought was really cool. So I think if I can sum it up all in one word, it would be a supportive community. And just being able to go into those businesses, go into those places, becoming regulars at spots, it I started to understand it a lot more. And it just feels good walking to a place, you kinda know who's there, and, you all just have it doesn't take much to have a good time, so supportive community is something that I think of. Do you have anything to add to that one, Zane?
Oof. Asking me about Laramie is like asking a kid how they feel about candy. Laramie is like my dude. It's my favorite town in Wyoming. And as people know, I'm born and raised from Wyoming. But just living in Laramie, man, I love having the university there. I love just the atmosphere, especially as being a college student. It's so exciting the first time you go there because the first move away from home is supposed to be like you're supposed to be a little scared and stuff like that. But honestly, when you go to Laramie, like you said, it's a very supportive community. It's not too terribly big. You're just feeling pretty confident about where you're at. Like I tell my wife all the time, like when we move back, I would love to move back to Laramie. Like it's one of my favorite places. I just love being able to go to a football game every weekend if we want to, or a football or a basketball game or anything like that. So that's kind of me there.
The second question, what are your thoughts on the OC, so Wyoming's
Hmm.
offensive coordinator?
Well, I already kind of talked about him. As far as like from a play calling standpoint, I thought from Colorado State he looked phenomenal, and then obviously he played the best defense in the Mountain West this last week. So I want to give him, obviously a lot of grace on that one. That's not an easy second game out. But Javon Bouknight's a legend at the University of Wyoming. Players love him. There was a story that came out. Shout out to Cody Tucker, 7220 Sports, on his podcast, The Roaring Repeater. He said, Javon was the wide receivers coach at another team. I can't remember the team. But he was the assistant wide receivers coach. And it just got to the point where all of the wide receivers were going to him with questions and not the actual head wide receivers coach. And I think it just kind of speaks to he's a really gravitating guy. I think players like him a lot. And I think that's going to be awesome for our team moving forward. How about you, man?
You hit it right on the head. I think that there's different styles of coaches. You have a players coach, you have militaristic coach, you have these different categories of coaches. And I think that from what I've heard and just the things that I've seen, I seem like they appreciate the direction he's trying to take them. And even though it's not coming together all at once, I think that it's moving in the right direction. And so I'm just trying to be patient, to be honest, because I know there's a lot of nuances with it. But I think that I'll have a better assessment maybe at the end of the season, or even maybe looking into next season, like a couple games in the next
Mhm.
season. So I think it's too early for me to make a judgment right now. But I think so far, just with um, how it's been, it's like it's close, we just gotta tie it together.
Yep, 1000%. No, and I agree. Fans, if you're already out on Javon Bouknight, you're way too early. I'd pump the brakes, my guys. He played played the number one rated defense. I mean, we just rattled off the statistics. They're a good defense. So, third one for you. This one's mine. If you could add in one trophy game. Now, keep in mind we're losing a lot of people, right? We have teams that are leaving for the Pac-2. So if you could add in one trophy game, who would it be with, and what would the trophy be? So I'll go first, just to give you some time. I'm gonna go with UTEP, University of Texas El Paso. Just for anybody that doesn't know, we are adding in UTEP in the Mountain West, I believe in 2027, and I am going to go with a saddle.
Saddle?
Not like an actual saddle, but like a trophy of a saddle. And it
Yeah.
could be like a battle for the saddle. They're the Miners. We're the Cowboys. I don't know. I felt like they both rode horses, but fans, if you have a better trophy, let me know. I mean, obviously, I'm open to whatever you want. But that's kind of mine.
I would have to say, um, if we were to do one, I think a fun one would be like UNLV. I think it'll be a fun one would be UNLV. Now,
Rebels. Okay.
the Rebels.
Okay.
So, as far as what the trophy will actually be, um, I don't know if it'll be like a lasso or something like that.
Wouldn't be bad.
You know,
Wouldn't be bad
some
at all.
type of like, a lasso that's, like, wrapped up or something like that, and I don't know, people get creative with picturing it, but I think about a lasso.
Oh,
Um,
absolutely. I don't mind that one at all. Or maybe like I don't know, what do rebels wear? They wear bandanas. We could do
bandanas,
like a
yeah,
bandana. I
a
don't
bandana, yeah.
Cowboys wear those. I don't know, man. We could think
Uh,
of something.
I
That
think that
wouldn't
would
be
be
bad. I don't
that would be
mind
bad.
UNLV.
I think it
I
would
don't
just
mind
add
UNLV
more.
at all.
The reason why I say UNLV over Air Force is because I feel like there's already a lot of significance with the Air Force game, so it'd be want
True.
to add more to the UNLV game.
That's not a bad idea at all, actually. Yeah, bring a little bit more because, like, when you play the Rebels, I mean, I don't know from a playing standpoint, but even like from a fan standpoint, like obviously you want to beat them, but it's not quite as historical as the other ones.
Right. It's like just another game on the schedule. So that's kind of where my head's going with that. But I do really like that question though. Like Zane said, bye week next week. So hopefully we'll be able to get everybody healthy. And then after that, I think we have who we after that we have Nevada, right? I think that's
I
Nevada,
believe
or is
so.
it Hawaii?
No, I think it's Nevada. I think
It's
you're right.
Nevada.
We play. Yeah, no, it's Fresno.
Fresno, then Nevada. Okay, so it's
Yeah,
Fresno,
Fresno.
Nevada, then we have Hawaii.
And yeah, guys, we appreciate you so much for hanging out with us. Obviously, this is episode 11. Shout out to Wyoming Wrestling. They just wrestled against Western Wyoming College. If you caught our episode with Mr. Dan Morris, voice of Cowboy Wrestling last week,
The GOAT.
they won that one 39-7. And there wasn't one guy that Dan talked about that did not win their match. So that was phenomenal. I was following along on Twitter at the
Yeah,
same time, so that was amazing to see.
dominant, dominant showing. So
Uh,
he's trying to.
And
Dan was trying to warn us.
he letting the people know. So fans, make sure you're watching them. Again, thank you so much for hanging out with us. Please, like, subscribe, share it around. Let us know what you guys are thinking. Give us couch questions of the week. We love answering them. I got to give a quick shout out to my uncle-in-law, Robbie Ring. He gave me a couch question of the week question probably a month ago, and I've been saving it for the Josh Allen retirement weekend. And so he's been getting antsy for that for a while. So that one is
Oh,
coming, Robbie.
okay.
I just wanted to throw that in there. So,
Hey,
but
Uncle
no, I
Robbie, we gonna
appreciate you
see.
guys. I appreciate you guys so much. Jahmari, any last things for him?
Nothing else, y'all. Let's stay solid. Go Pokes, and let's have a safe week out there.
Heck yeah. We'll see you guys next week. We'll talk a little bit about Fresno State. And yeah, we'll line up a couple more fun things. We'll chat about some stuff. So be safe, guys, and go Pokes.